Mornings can be super stressful, especially if you don't have a routine down. That's something that's always been a part of my life that has resonated with me since, decades ago when I was first starting out in the business world, when I first established my own business. I remember sitting in a planning meeting with a coach, and she specifically told me that in order to achieve success, in order to move ahead in the world, that the more patterns, the more habits that you create in your life, the less stressful and the more success you'll end up finding from it. And that resonated with me, especially throughout the years. The more that I read self-help books and memoirs and biographies and things from other successful people. I know it's true. Obviously, a quick search in Google will tell you that success comes from routine. Success comes from establishing a mindset that helps you become a more successful, happy, joyful person, right? And chances are, if maybe you have heard this too in your life and you have your own habits, your own healthy routines. But something also in the back of your mind is saying, wait a minute, is this really working? And is this who I am and what I want? I know these last few years obviously have been very stressful for everybody, pretty much around the world. But for me, it was uber stressful, and it's something that I've been gradually noticing again over the last couple of years here. If things aren't working the way that they once did, I'm not who I once was, even just maybe even a few short months ago. Things are changing rapidly in my life, and I knew that I needed new habits, new routines. The more that I hunted, the more that I searched, I kept coming across the concept of burnout. And am I facing burnout? It tends to be a little cliche or a very overused word at the moment. I think I see burnout a lot. I see a lot of people talking about it. But that, to a certain extent, emotional burnout is describing where I'm at, is describing who I am, what I'm facing currently in this life. So as a part of that routine, at the beginning of the year, I actually had a moment where I said, I want off the gerbil wheel, right? I want to step back from everything that I've been facing and who I'd become and start discovering who I'm meant to be moving forward. Who am I? What is important to me in this world and in my life right now, especially as I move forward. Not saying that I haven't, obviously had a lot of that figured out. I feel like I'm in a good place, and I say that quite frequently. I'm happy with where I am. I have a lot of joy in my life. But at the same time, I know I need to discover a new me, a new person as I move forward, especially as I take into account everything that I've seen, everything that I've experienced in the last few years here. A lot of it has added into me discovering a new place in this world and me discovering who I want to be and what's important to me now. So as a part of that, one of the things that I did is I gave myself permission to back away from my morning routine. So I gave myself permission just to throw it all away and just start over, try something new. And I'm still a work in process. This is still something I'm kind of morphing back into. But it has made me appreciate certain parts of my routine and certain things that I know have crafted success over the years, actually over decades, since I originally learned some of these ideas from a long time ago. And that's really how I am moving forward, is giving myself the permission to add things back into my life. What is important? Is it important for me to, wake up early and get things done? Or do I need to take time to sleep in and rest and become a better person by just taking that moment that I need, whether it's on a daily, weekly, or, forever basis, if this is something I need to do. So I thought it would be fun and hopefully helpful for you. I've provided a guide here. The link is below this video. For something that I've crafted called the Healthy Morning Habits Checklist. Now, usually in these videos, I'm all about journaling, and I've actually added some journaling prompts, which we'll go through too here in a minute. But the thing that has helped me most, again, is to step back, step away from what I once considered my normal morning routine and just re-look at it, re-evaluate it, and say what is important to me. So I've included several things in my healthy morning habits checklist. I've kind of made it a checklist that you can go through too and answer some of your own questions. But I think each of these is something, that you've probably established a lot in your own routine now. And sometimes it helps just to take a look at them and go, is this still meaningful for me? So some of the things that I've included, and again, feel free to, add to this list if something isn't there. But for me, the first thing is that wake up call. How do I want to wake up? What do I want to occur during those first few minutes of the morning? And for me, for years, for absolutely, a decade, probably even more than that, one of the things that has always been super important to me is to rise before everyone else in my house, so I get that quiet time. So I can, sit around, do what I'm comfortable with without questions bombarding me from every angle, without, just the general noise of cell phones ringing or teapots starting up or microwaves going off, all the things that are typically a part of a morning routine. I love coming up to my own space. I've created my own little corner where I can sit and relax and just really get into how I want my day to go. So a lot of that starts with your wake-up routine. What does that look like for you? Some people love, having the snooze alarm there that they can work with and, just kind of take life easy. For me, it's always been about, I don't want an alarm clock at all. I would typically wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock anyway. That's just something that is a normal part of my process. So that to me is very important, that I lay there for a few minutes and stretch and, just become awake and just give myself a little bit of time before I jump out of bed and before I start my morning routine. Even in the summertime when the natural light is coming through, very important to me to actually see that and to see the sunrise. So what's important to you? Is that something, that you like? Is there a way to make your morning snooze alarm, if you need an alarm clock, even better? I know my husband recently invested in one of the alarm clocks that wake you up with birds or with sunshine, or you can choose how you want to be woken up as opposed to just the blaring buzzer noise. And he loves it. He wakes up to birds every morning, and that's something that he really enjoys. So I think, just reevaluating that. What does that look like for you? For me, then, it's also about experiencing gratitude for everything that is going on around me. And for me, I have a gratitude journal that I start my mornings with, and it's something that I've worked back into my daily routine. Again, I love just being aware of what's happened in the previous day since I recorded in my gratitude journal the day before, and just really breathing into that. So I have a little countdown for you that I've included that works for me. And it's just 5 deep breaths, 5 different strategies to reach your gratitude. And for me, it's 5 things that you feel deep inside that you're grateful for. And it can be very simple things. For me, sometimes I'm grateful, again, just for rising in the morning and seeing the sun shining, or for having a mug of tea that I absolutely love. So it can be simple things, but what are you feeling deep inside? 4 things that you believe in. And again, sometimes you may have trouble with that. This is something that you just need to be aware of. What works in your life for today, knowing that that's going to change every single day. Then I have 3 things that you desire, 3 things that you're looking forward to. Again, all of these can be very simple. It's not something on the grand scale, that you want something, big in your life. This can be something very simple for today, something that you are looking forward to. And again, maybe you desire just to have a great walk in the morning or a great cup of tea. I always go back to that because it, again, is very important to me. And you need to decide what's important for you too. Then 2 things that you love and 1 thing that you know for sure. And again, sometimes those can be very telltale, especially when they tend to appear on a daily basis. Sometimes I see patterns in that, and that really helps me out. Hopefully it helps you too, to really understand where you are today and how that fits into the grand scheme of things. Then I also have part of my morning routine is to hydrate. That can be, a mug of tea. I have my water bottle near me a lot because I love to keep hydrated throughout the day, especially in the morning hours. And I think that's so important, just to, refresh and feel what that does for you as you move through the most important part of your day. Or even to a certain extent, sometimes it's about a mug of hot water or a mug of hot tea. I kind of go between the two. Sometimes I love just incorporating a little bit of lemon in a hot water, especially in the wintertime. There's just something kind of soothing about that. And I obviously love my tea, my herbal teas. They're a part of my ritual all morning long. More so even in the winter months, I would say, than the summer months. But even in the summer, I love waking up to, just having something warm that, especially in the Pacific Northwest, with the windows open, everything, it can be a very crisp morning sometimes, even now. So I like just having that, just to have a little bit of time to myself. And then for me, what is also important is reading. I always have a book on my desk or somewhere near where I journal and other things in the morning, because I think to get fresh perspective is very important. Whether a book has been recommended to you or you've just picked something up off of the library or the bookshelf, I tend to, use the library quite frequently. And if anyone mentions a book whatsoever, I tend to order it and flip through it, take a look at it. If it's something that interests me, then it might go on my desk and it might be something that I use in the morning. Now, this isn't where I sit down and, read through chapters at a time. I usually try and stick to 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most. And what I'm looking for is just to gain a fresh perspective for the day. Is there something that, maybe can change my perspective or add an aha moment to something that I've been pondering for the last day? And I also keep a little sticky pad or sticky note beside me with a pen, because I always come up with ideas when I'm reading and thinking and, meditating, going through some gratitude, things like that. There's always something that might pop up. And if you have something that you can just record little notes on, well, sometimes that helps you get through issues and problems that you may have been facing in the last day and just move forward with it. Other things that I have included in on this that may be important to you is enjoy a nutritious breakfast. That is something that I can't survive without. I do wait a little bit. I like to, again, go through my morning routine, go through journaling, and I even like to sit down and write a little bit for myself before I jump into eating a nutritious breakfast. But again, I couldn't move through my morning without that. And that looks different for everybody, but especially if you're moving into plant-based, this might be something that you try and incorporate more into your routine. What does that look like? What does a nutritious breakfast look like for you? For me, it's all smoothie based. Again, if you followed me for any length of time, I've got my recipe and everything that I believe about my morning breakfast routine written on my Substack. You can go and actually get the recipes and stuff like that over there. But for me, that starts my day. It gets the blood flowing, it gets my brain thinking, it gives me my nutrition and my energy so that I can head out on my morning walks in the morning. Again, it's such an important part of it. That was one thing, even through my whole burnout thing, everything that I'm going through with here, when I started releasing things and slowly pulling them back in, this is one thing that I never let go of and never will. This has been a part of my life, my smoothie routine for years. And again, I don't foresee that this ever goes away, because it is so meaningful and I feel the difference by adding a lot of pure and just great plant-based energy into my life. Beyond that, you can do other things into your routine. For me, I love to check in with myself, fresh air, exercise. It's not something I run out first thing in the morning, but after I go through some of these routines, I always end it with a morning walk, because there's just something. I'm right near a river, walking by the river, seeing the animals, the bald eagles, the osprey right now are, all feeding their babies, and you can hear all kinds of wonderful sounds, wonderful noises. We have families of deer that live by. I see them on the occasion. Beavers, sea lions, it just goes on and on what's between, on my walking trail and right there in the river. So for me, that is just such an important part of my process. And then also the visualization of how you want your day to go. I do that a lot on my walk, on my morning routine after everything that I've done for a positive morning. I think visualizing really helps me see where I'm going, even if I'm confused at the moment, even if I'm burnt out and putting things aside. There are still some things, obviously, that are very important to my life. And just visualizing them and seeing them and how they fit into my life, how can I incorporate them into my future, has really helped me a lot. Burnout is something that, you can't push through. You can't say tomorrow everything's done, everything's going to be great, and I'm going to move on. That is probably one of the biggest things that I've realized is sometimes you need to take the time. But you need to take the time to bring these habits back into your life, to, slowly transition into something that's more meaningful for you. And I think that's honestly where visualization comes in of, who do I want to be next week, next year, next decade, right? As you move from your 50s into your 60s, into your 70s, all this different thing. Who am I and what do I want that world to look like? Something we all have to ask, pretty much every day of our lives, right? Who do I want to be in the future? Who do I want to be now and in the future? And if you're stuck, if you're going through burnout, just going through some simple steps like this every day. And trust me, this is something I do on a daily basis. I do this, throughout the year. And we're here in July right now, and I'm still asking these same questions and seeing how it all comes together. And I think that's ultimately what has helped me get where I am today. And I know, again, this is something that is just going to take time, and I give myself permission for that. And sometimes just repeating things like this checklist, like journaling, it just helps you look at things differently every single day. And sometimes some things just click. You say, you know what I learned yesterday about myself, I see that fitting, and I see that coming together into where I hope to be in the future. So with that, I do have some journaling prompts for you. Go ahead and download my guide. I have all 5 writing prompts there. Feel free to use that. Or if you have your own journal of sorts and you want to convert these prompts over into your journal, that's fine too. Whatever works best for you. Again, these are things that I'm using and have been using here for a while, so hopefully they help you too. What I'll go ahead and I'll do is I will read the journal prompts and give you about 30 seconds maybe to jot down some notes that you're thinking right now. And then feel free to, again, download this, print it off, sit down with a pen. Don't type this kind of stuff out. Just if you sit down, I've always found sitting down with pen and paper tends to help because it clears my mind, gets rid of all the electronics and the digital, right? I mean, get rid of all that stuff for a while and just get in touch with who you are. Helps me a lot. Hopefully it helps you too. So let's start with journal prompt number 1. So describe your current morning routine in detail. How does it make you feel? How does it impact your energy levels throughout the day? Journal prompt number 2. What's one aspect of your morning that you look forward to every day? Why? If you could change one thing about your mornings, what would it be and why? Journal prompt number 3. Reflect on a time when you had a great morning. What made it special, and how can you incorporate elements of that into your current daily routine? Journal prompt number 4. What 3 words would you use to describe the person you want to be each morning? How can your routine reflect these qualities? And finally, journal prompt number 5. Reflect on your personal definition of success. How can your morning routine support this vision? What activities or habits make you feel most empowered and confident? How can you incorporate these into your mornings? So there you have it, my 5 journaling prompts for the month of July. Hopefully they help you, like they've been helping me again for the last few months here. I've been really working back into this particular type of prompting, and it's something that has been helping me. Again, I've been prompting for years, for decades. This is something that has always been a part of my life, and when I let it go for a few months, just bringing it back in has helped me get new clarity, get new focus, and really take a look at who I am today and where I'm going. So hopefully all this helps you too. I'd love to hear from you if this helps you, if you have your own ideas of things that you've used to move out of overwhelm, out of burnout, and move forward. Love to hear you. Go ahead and post here, or again, you can find me on Substack or my website or anywhere that you follow me, and I'd love to touch base with you. So good luck. Wish you luck with everything that you do as you move forward, and we'll see you again next month.